I think about a CEO, it starts with vision. It's like, what is the life that I'm trying to create? And then understanding that inside of that, there's going to be the most important things to bring me closer to that. Those are my responsibilities. I want to get your take on how maybe you kind of define or how you guys teach, becoming that CEO, maybe from kind of the ground
Yeah.
level up. But I think, understanding that there's a vision. So it starts with having a name and it starts with having a plan, understanding that the most important things to drive my life forward are my responsibility. But like you said at the beginning, like, you're not doing this walk alone. Like, you got to recruit people around you. You got to have brothers. You got to have people in your corner to maybe fill some of those gaps. So um, maybe where we can start is like what does it mean, or how do you guys define at the King's Council, like, being the CEO of your life? And then maybe we can unpack some of the things that you're teaching and how you guys are, really helping transform people's lives and bringing them back to,
Yeah.
how they were created.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we host these events called, becoming the CEO of your life. And and why we came up with this concept is really because I think if we, as entrepreneurs, again, we're all entrepreneurs, if we can run our lives like we would normally run a business, everything's gonna operate much better, right? And we believe that there's five key components to running your own business, running your own life. It's our mental, our emotional, the physical, the spiritual, and the financial component. And if we can operate in excellence in all five of these areas, we know that we are going to be able to walk out our God-given, talents and abilities. So just like a business, if you look at your business and think of those five pillars as the different divisions within your company, like you have the sales department, the marketing department, fulfillment, whatever it is. If any of those is out of alignment, right, or isn't operating, at high capacity, every other area is going to suffer, right? If you could be selling a ton of stuff, but if fulfillment is not delivering it, ultimately we're going to have chargebacks, right? Or if your marketing is crushing it, but the sales team isn't actually selling it, there's a disconnect. So just like you would typically have checks and balances in your business, in making sure that we're operating on high levels, we do that within our own lives. And so it boils down to those five power pillars, as I mentioned: the physical, the spiritual, the mental, emotional, and then the financial component. And so when we host these events, we dive into those pretty deep, but we really base everything through what we believe is just a God-given template for us of the 7 days of creation. And if you go through those 7 days of that, there's a true structure and an order to it on how and when God created each component. And in the very, very first day was let there be light, right? Like, and when we talk about vision, it's making sure, as I mentioned earlier, even at the age of 15, I knew the vision that I had, that I was casting for my life. How I was going to get there, no clue. Like, I still have no clue how I'm getting there. I know though that I'm still casting this vision for my life, but I'm able to walk it out by having the vision for my life and getting so crystal clear of what that is, and making sure I'm in alignment with my spouse, if you are in any sort of relationship, but also in alignment with your creator. I mean, number one, within that alignment, and then ultimately our alignments on this earth here, oftentimes our assignments will be birthed, right? We talk about a lot about that, like within our alignments birth our assignments. And that's that relational component of being able to walk out these 7 days. So again, it starts back with vision, and then God separated the heavens from the earth, right? So it's basically the culture, the environment that we're putting ourselves in, how important that is. And this blueprint should be used not only in our personal life, but if you're going to start a business, or you're going to uh, um, start anything, if you walk through this component or this blueprint, it's gonna get much easier for you throughout this process, because it goes from vision to culture to structure and order to movement, momentum, and then ultimately God created us for relationship, and then ultimately a day of rest, right? So those are the 7 days of creation that we teach.